Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. For the first time the Crypto Fear and Greed Index shows that investors are starting to get nervous about the cryptocurrency industry. I have no idea when this began, but it seems like months have passed. I can note, though, that there has been a slight uptick in costs during the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours at the time of recording? The Crypto Fear and Greed Index typically refreshes once every day, and in that time it has increased slightly back to neutral. But what we saw leading up to that point was that markets returned to fear for the first time in a very long time. As Bitcoin's value fell below $24,000, XRP followed suit, losing ground of its own. I mean, take a look at the headline on the Crypto Basics page. Should we be concerned? The XRP currency drops below key support levels. This is the next step. Such foreboding. Should we be concerned, then? My own personal view, though, is that it is most definitely not. But there's a big reason, and I'll be focusing on it in this video. XRP is my largest crypto holding by a fair deal, and I'm not afraid to keep onto it. But it offers me the assurance I need to keep my crypto assets. This is something I told you about last August, and it's something that's happened today. If it doesn't give you hope and calm your nerves, I don't know what will. Children, please congregate around the fire. Dan continued, but before we go any farther, I do want to clarify something out. No, I don't come from a moneyed family. You should not buy or sell anything based on anything I say or write, because I am not giving financial advice. Just a hobbyist here that occasionally posts films to YouTube on various crypto-related topics. And by the way, I'll be diving headfirst into the meat of this video, the main course, at the very start. That means you won't be kept waiting. First, though, I should mention that at the time this 47 cents was recorded, the price of Bitcoin had risen to $25,474. Just over $1 trillion in market cap. At this point in time, Bitcoin has a 47.39% market share. At 47, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is in the middle of the road. However, the day before, yesterday, there were 41 people out of 100 who reported feeling afraid for the first time in a long time. Given Bitcoin's precipitous decline, this is hardly surprising. Fear, panic selling, and other undesirable outcomes are to be expected whenever something like that occurs. Since I started this channel, I've been preaching the same thing: watch what the big players are doing, but don't necessarily take their advice. This is because many large organizations and financial institutions will initially warn you about the dangers of cryptocurrency before eventually joining the flock. Indeed, that is the situation here. The implications of this are enormous. Here is the banner from Decrypt: BlackRock submits application for Bitcoin ETF to SEC. Let's be clear about something: BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. They handle trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars, and they were against crypto until recently, when they suddenly became for it. That's why I brought up the news articles you see before you today. I will focus on a select handful. To make my point and bring everyone up to speed, I don't have to read through the articles. On August 4, 2022, I wrote about this story for TechCrunch. BlackRock's latest partnership with Coinbase shows the firm's acceptance of Bitcoin. There are other headlines, though. Dated August 11, 2022, here is one. BlackRock now allows its large institutional clients to invest in Bitcoin. Another one, this time from Barron's. What does BlackRock's introduction of a Bitcoin trust mean for cryptocurrencies and stocks? So, once again, I reported on all that news in August alongside everyone else. However, I did say that BlackRock's launch of the Bitcoin Trust, which is being mentioned by Barron's on your screen right now, was a signal that the company would eventually push for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which does require SEC approval. And in a moment, I'll explain why that's so important. But first, I'd like to mention BlackRock. They are worth mentioning, and I'm relieved to have covered this in my films. This is what I predicted would happen at the time. Probably, I stated something like this in a few videos around this time. A Bitcoin trust is being introduced by BlackRock. They were clearly trying to mimic Grayscale. Of course, Grayscale would create a Bitcoin investment fund. They sued the Securities and Exchange Commission because they wanted a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, ETF, first and were the first to do it in the United States. Since the SEC continues to reject this, it continues. That's why I asked in August, what do you think will happen? Since BlackRock is clearly modeling themselves after Grayscale, I assumed they would be the pioneer. They weren't the first to do this, but they're making progress in the field. To conclude, I believe that someone provided me a heads up on the possibility of a Bitcoin trust being converted into a spot Bitcoin ETF, and I would like to give credit to that person in this video. However, this was told in secret, and I do not have authorization to reveal the identify at this time. However, if he is listening, he will undoubtedly recognize himself as the source of the information. After all, it was only one of you. I'd be pleased to mention you in a video I make in the future. However, this individual's crypto experience spans over 10 years. Because of his extensive network, he informed me that he is employed in the financial sector. Exactly who is in the know? He, for instance, is well connected at Grayscale. So he learned about BlackRock's decision through word of mouth. In fact, he informed me that BlackRock would be entering the cryptocurrency market long before it became mainstream news. That's why I was prepared for it. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on the channel. It's a stretch to say that. But it's been so long that I'm starting to believe I did. What we have here, then, is what I was warned would probably occur. Bitcoin Spot ETF, for short. This is crucial since, hey, we're just emerging from a bear market, and while the first half of 2023 was generally positive, the second half was not. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that far from the depths of last November. As a result, there are many people currently on the sidelines who will eventually join the fray, as well as many more individuals and institutions that will pour in trillions of dollars. And for the individuals here right now, congrats, because for some of you, the amount of money that is going to flood in is probably comparable to winning the blasted lottery. Isn't it ironic that the market has suddenly panicked in an apocalyptic fashion? And what do we see, exactly? This move by BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, is significant. It's more than just a Bitcoin investment fund now. They are lobbying for a spot Bitcoin ETF, but the SEC's approval is far from guaranteed. The citizens of BlackRock, so the assumption goes, have more social connections than anyone else on the earth. Therefore, it will be sanctioned. In theory, yes. Of course, if that occurs, it certainly seems slimy at first glance. The situation looks awful at the very least. Probably, we both agree on that point. This is significant because a spot Bitcoin ETF might one day be traded on major exchanges like the Nasdaq or the New York Stock Exchange. In addition, if BlackRock is granted permission to store Bitcoin, they will be required to do so. Therefore, you won't be able to purchase it on an exchange if they're hoarding it. And then, as I said, it allows those who aren't currently invested in the cryptocurrency market to have exposure to it through an account they already have with a broker on the New York Stock Exchange or Nasdaq. Therefore, if this occurs, demand will increase dramatically. And once again, the largest asset manager in the world is involved. Whether BlackRock is a good or evil firm is a digression beyond the scope of this film. However, the ramifications are enormous regardless of your opinion on the matter. Now that the SEC Ripple litigation is concluded, I have some XRP in my hand and am optimistic about the future of the cryptocurrency. Not sure of that. It's possible this will end badly, like a train accident. Nonetheless, I have a lot of faith. The bear market has given us this. BlackRock is getting involved, and they wouldn't do that if they didn't think they could earn a ton of money. I wouldn't be surprised if the BlackRock ETF were the first of its kind to be greenlit. There are no assurances that this will occur, but it is highly likely. Simply said, that's the plan. That's the plan, anyway. Just like I was saying it a little over a year ago. That's why I'd appreciate it if I could give credit to my contact in this case. Just as I try to always do, I'll give credit where it's due. If someone were to have a private conversation with me, I would prefer to keep such conversations secret unless given explicit permission to do otherwise. But look, all crypto assets are moving in lockstep. Implications include Bitcoin's price increasing due to increased demand in light of the fact that supply is limited and there is now a dearth of Bitcoin on the market. And now that the bear market has ended, you're talking about all this in such detail. What does this mean for XRP and other cryptocurrencies? It's a foregone conclusion that numerous alternative cryptocurrencies will generate returns that vastly exceed Bitcoin's, in my opinion. You get why there is so much capital invested in Bitcoin now. Everyone wants it to double, triple, or quadruple in value. It's not impossible, but the amount of money that would need to come into XRP for it to double, treble, or quadruple is far larger. As a result, I'm not sure if we'll ever see something like a $10 XRP. I will not speculate on future prices. For all I know, XRP could drop to zero. However, XRP at $10 is not even remotely implausible. It's fantastic, but the concept that the price of XRP could go further higher doesn't strike me as crazy in the least. Look at this, then. This is the first time BlackRock has done so. By the way, Bloomberg reported this. Or, I'm afraid not. There goes the old one. Allow me to visit the decoder now. New version, right here. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, the headline states that BlackRock has submitted an application to the SEC for a Bitcoin ETF. This just occurred today, right? On Thursday afternoon, BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, submitted an application to the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, to establish a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, ETF. A CoinDesk story from earlier in the day indicated that the filing was expected. Together, BlackRock and Coinbase form the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the United States. BlackRock manages or has managed $9.5 trillion in assets as of the first quarter of 2023. Custody for the ETF would be handled by Coinbase, with pricing based on spot market data from the exchange, and cash holdings held by BNY Mellon. Last August, BlackRock and Coinbase entered into a collaboration so that investors using BlackRock's Aladdin platform could hold and trade digital assets, beginning with Bitcoin. The agreement opens up Coinbase trading custody, prime brokerage, and reporting services to BlackRock's clientele. Here I'll simply mention the one item that's left me wondering. If anyone has any insight into this that can help shine light on the situation, I'd be very appreciative. What gives, if the SEC is going after Coinbase and BlackRock is depending on it? When it comes down to it, what is the plan here? Given that BlackRock is fully apprised of the circumstance surrounding Coinbase. They're pushing ahead with this, and Coinbase is an integral component of that. A definition, please. They obviously do not see this as a catastrophic event for Coinbase. They hope that things will improve when they move on. So, if you're at all concerned, that's what I'd like to say. I'm only saying that the world's most brilliant and wealthy individuals aren't worried, but rather thrilled to be among the first to join the club. Even though everyone has an equal opportunity, only about 4% of the world's population has ever bought any cryptocurrency. BlackRock is currently participating. In that light, BlackRock seems to have gotten in on the ground floor of the cryptocurrency game very late. It's still early in BlackRock. Are we not living in a strange world? As it turns out, the SEC has been up to some rather heinous deeds. It's absolutely dominating every other exchange-traded fund, ETF, including Gemini and Grayscale. The SEC has repeatedly rejected numerous proposed exchange-traded fund, ETF, structures. Seeing BlackRock mimic Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust would be absurd. They made exact replicas of the company's structure. Grayscale tried to get an ETF before BlackRock did, but was unsuccessful and is now suing the SEC. If I were in the Grayscale camp and saw that BlackRock had formally applied for an ETF after Grayscale had been denied a similar application for hijacking that business model, I'd be very upset. Don't you think it looks and sounds absolutely slimy? Indeed, it's as horrible as it sounds. In particular, for monochrome. As far as I can tell, it's still beneficial for XRP owners and the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. You've demonstrated the drawbacks to me, but this is the future. To sum up, that's the point I wanted to make with this video. So long. Because I saw the terror in their eyes. And it's been slowly but steadily rising, albeit at a neutral rate, not quite greed mode yet. And then I see this huge news story, something I predicted a year ago, actually happening. So far, my communication has been completely accurate. He predicted accurately that BlackRock would invest, and sure enough, they did so a few months later. He then remarked, "Hey, here's the word on the grapevine. They want to just emulate Grayscale's business strategy before applying to become an ETF. In any case, they put in for the ETF. Today marks the occurrence of BlackRock. The question is now whether or not they will understand. To be honest, I have no idea whether or not they applied for the ETF, but I find it quite unlikely. I doubt that anyone who are that well connected would bother applying for the ETF if they didn't already know the answer. No, I don't give out financial advice. My words here should not be used as a basis for making any financial transactions. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.